Hello, YouTube. I am Vince White, and I am an employment attorney. And normally on this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. But today, we're talking about the death of mainstream media at the hands of two very important gender discrimination claims. So MSNBC is we've got three mainstream news media networks essentially. MSNBC, which we're going to set aside for the purpose of this video. I understand they're not doing very well. Rachel Maddow, of course, which was their sole shining star in terms of TV news personalities, has departed, and it's kind of like a languishing, slowly dying network. We're going to set it aside because it is slowly dying, and that differentiates it from the other two, which are, of course, the full-time propaganda organizations that are Fox News and CNN. Now, of course, these organizations not known for their accuracy. I mean, I think you could rightfully call them partisan hack organizations. Both of them, certainly. That's not what we're talking about today. We're not taking sides. We're not getting involved in that partisan nonsense. What we're talking about is Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson, both of whom appear to be at the center of some gender discrimination issues. Don Lemon, who I believe identifies as a homosexual African American man, made some wild statements about women recently, and from what I understand, over the course of his career. Don't quote me on that. But he went on air, and he's been very belligerent to his female co-host on his failing network show. And I think he said something like women peak at 30 or 35 or something like that, like something insane. Like, my friend, go fuck yourself. And then Tucker Carlson, who I think also had some trouble with January 6th and with the Dominion voting lawsuit, also was at the heart, at least his show was, and I suspect he was as well, or at least the people that he employs, of a gender discrimination lawsuit. And both Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson are out of their networks. Now, Don Lemon's not that big a deal. He wasn't a terribly popular news personality. He couldn't carry a show. He didn't even have a show on his own anymore. But Tucker Carlson was essentially Fox News in the way that Rachel Maddow was MSNBC, right? Like, I believe on the news of Tucker Carlson being out of Fox News, the valuation of Fox News went down by $690 million. Let's face it. Is the quest for equity, the quest for gender equality, why these two people are out of their shows? I want to say yes. I want to believe yes. Probably no. Probably other things going on. Don Lemon, from what I understand, he was a fairly expensive hire for that CNN. And he wasn't much of a draw. So when he does super dumb shit, like talk shit about women on air, who I believe are like his core viewership, like of that program, it was heavily slated towards women, from what I understand. Don't quote me. I am not I'm not a purveyor of news. But if you have a show that's heavily viewed by women who believe in gender equity, and then you just go on your show and you start shit talking women and specifically referencing their age and the age, and telling your viewers, who tend to skew older than the age at which you, for some reason, claim women peak, well, that's going to give your network a really good excuse to get you out of the door, because clearly you're not fit for the job. And listen, Tucker Carlson, he was Fox News. Like, that's what they had at this point. I don't know. I mean, who else? Who else was there over there? Is Hannity still there? I don't know. Who watches this shit? I think Bill O'Reilly's gone, right? He's been gone, what, half a decade? I'll do it live. That was the. I don't know anything about Bill. I've never watched his show, but I will never forget that clip. Fuck it. Okay, I'll do it live. It was amazing. It was a great moment. He'll live in my memory. He's got a room rented up there for the rest of my life, just screaming, "I'll do it live." But I don't even know who else works at Fox News. Like, do they have other reporters, or do they just run Tucker Carlson 24/7? And listen, Don Lemon's gonna be fine. He's a wealthy gentleman. Tucker Carlson's gonna be fine. He's also, I believe, a very wealthy gentleman. I assume, frankly, that their departures were. Well, I assume Tucker's might have been in the 100 million range, and Mr. Lemon's, I don't know, he probably got an extra 20 grand or 20 million or something like that. Who knows? But I think these gender claims were convenient excuses for these networks to part ways with these personalities. I think they're kind of understanding, these networks now, that they're not really able to compete with some of the more genuine, more sincere news programs that are cropping up in other avenues of the world. I think as they see certain organizations get tagged as government sponsored, or I think there's been some talk of throwing around propaganda as a title for some news networks. They're realizing, listen, we have done many bad things that have impacted our brand. People know that we can't be trusted, and so people are not terribly interested in watching our nonsense. And also just the concept of the whole cable news, getting your money from the cable network to run your cable news channel is weird in 2023, because who's paying for cable? I don't know. I don't think I know anyone who pays for cable. Pay for broadband. I know a couple people who pay for YouTube TV, but I don't know if that includes things like Fox News and CNN. I don't really know. Why would you pay for cable in 2023? I want a show. You access the app for the show on your TV, your smart TV, or aftermarket smart TV device, right? Like, I don't. So listen, these networks were dying anyways. But I like the optics of these two idiots being ushered out of their careers while being hit for gender discrimination. I like that. I like those optics, and I like the ability to be like, oh yeah, those guys got pushed out of Dodge because of their essentially their hate for women, right? I don't know that either of these men hate women. I suspect it. I have opinions, but I can't say it because that could expose me to some liability, right? Like, I don't know either of these people, and neither of them has ever confided in me that they secretly hate women. It just looks like it. To me, it looks like it a little bit. So, world's changing. The nature of news is changing. I would urge you to look at progressive news media sources that talk about things like the interests of employees and workers in this country, because that is not really something that CNN or Fox News or MSNBC tend to care about, because it's not something that one of the major political parties cares about, right? The Democrats and Republicans have similar track records in recent years of actively harming employees, right? Both of these parties are essentially parties of the oligarchy, looking to harm the less affluent in our nation. And there are parties in this nation that you can look at who might be sincere in their desire to help employees and to give people who work for a living rights. And you may want to consume media from organizations that represent your interest, or at least just report things in an accurate fashion. That could have some value. And I could certainly recommend, I mean, there's organizations like Rising, which has a progressive voice on it, and The Hill, which has a progressive voice, and a number of very liberal voices, and also libertarian voices, because frankly, a libertarian world would be better for the employees than an oligarchic world, which is essentially what I view Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC as pushing. Right, they're pushing the agenda of the oligarchy, of the wealthy, of the corporations. They're corporatists. They want to keep down the individual and build up the wealth of the people who give them the money to run the ads. Right. Anyways, that's my thought. Comment down below. I'm sure you're gonna give me a little. There's gonna be some people. There's gonna be some people giving me the what for, and that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I get it. You might be a little salty. Maybe your guy got kicked out on his ass because he's a jackass. Okay, let's talk about it. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and remember, everybody works. Not everybody wins.